Boy comes up to me and says, hey, I lost a pack of cigarettes on the floor here. Did you happen to find a pack of cigarettes on the floor here? And this is right after I had picked up my own pack of cigarettes that I dropped, right? I put my hand in my pocket. I realized, hey, where's my cigarettes? I do a 360. I don't even walk anywhere. I just turn my body around and I'm about to walk back in the direction I came from to see where my cigarettes fell. And I see they're right by my feet, right? Now, just from that alone, the fact that it's by me is enough to prove that it's my cigarettes. It's in my zone. It's not by anyone else's zone. But also, I know they're my cigarettes. I'm missing a pack of cigarettes, a full box closed with the plastic on it. It's Winston Blue, or Winston, yeah, probably I brought blue. I'm saying I usually buy just one pack of cigarette. I know what my cigarettes are, And this kid was with a kippah, a head covering. And he comes up to me with trickery. He's not asking me, yo, can I have a cigarette? Can I get a couple of cigarettes? He's coming up to me with lies, saying, what's his whole thing? Is because he saw me pick up a box of cigarettes from the floor. Yeah, but he doesn't know what's going on in my head. He didn't see me panic for a second, turn around, and then find the cigarettes. All he sees is a guy picks up a box of cigarettes on the floor. And he wants to take advantage of that situation and take the cigarettes, get the box of cigarettes. So he comes up to me and he's like, hey, I lost a box of cigarettes in the area. You saw one on the floor maybe? For a second, I was like, I had to think, what's going on here? What the hell? This kid, what the hell does he want from me? And then I realized he's trying to steal my cigarettes. I told him, I said, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. I told him that in Hebrew. I said, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. He started running. Okay, I took my beer in my hand. I held it kind of like a weapon, but kind of in a way where I might drink it. You don't really know exactly what I'm going to do. And I started walking after him, Him and his other friend, even younger than him, they see me and they start running down the stairwell of the building. By this time, people see there's a whole commotion, kind of, everyone's looking their heads. But what did I yell at him? I said, you fucking Aravi whore, Aravi sharmuta, take off your kippah, take off your yarmulke. Yeah? Why? This is what inspired me to make that video the other day that some people didn't understand and didn't really get, was what I was saying about don't be religious if you're going to be a sinner. I want to clarify that, but I just want to give you the context. The context is getting robbed by a kid with a kippah on his head. Yeah. And in that video, I spoke about the Talmud, and people definitely misunderstood the implications of the Talmud, what it's telling you. The Talmud is saying very clearly that someone who's going to sin anyway, not that you're allowed to sin, not that you should sin, someone who's going to sin, don't do it in your rabbinic garb in your neighborhood. Go to a place where no one knows you and take off your rabbinic garb and go sin there. Do it all dressed all in black in a place where no one knows you. I think it's a very similar concept to what I was trying to tell this boy. I wasn't gonna hurt him, by the way. What am I gonna do? I don't think I've ever beaten someone up in my life. Maybe a lot of my little brothers, Anyway, yeah. Get it? I want this kid to understand, if you're going to be going around lying to people, swindling them, trying to steal from them, better to do it without a kippah on your head. And that I think you can all agree with, no? If you're going to be an asshole, why do you have to represent a religion? Why do you have to represent a God? Why can't you just do it as your own independent being, right? Now, I started that video saying, I'm not religious because of this. No, that's not true. I'm not religious because I'm not fucking religious. Fuck that. I want to fix that. I'm not religious because, dude, I don't know if I'm not willing or if I'm not capable. It's kind of complex. And I'll tell you something. This segues into another conversation. Not everything that's permissible will they tell you is permissible, even to the point where they're not allowed to tell you it's permissible. We have clear-cut cases in biblical law okay? Where there's something that's permitted, but we don't teach that it's permitted. You don't teach the public that something is permitted. There's specific cases. Usually, you have to tell them the law. If someone asks you a law, you have to tell them. You're not allowed to withhold knowledge from someone. But there's a time when you actually lie to them. And you don't tell them that a specific thing is permitted. You tell them it's forbidden. Even though it is permitted and you're allowed to do it. You know? What type of case is that? That's a case where if I teach him A, because he's an ignoramus, he's wrongly going to extrapolate and apply the same thing to case B, while case B is actually forbidden. Sometimes you'll have two things that are too similar, and this is different than a gzeira. A gzeira is, we're scared you're going to come to sin, so we actually forbid you from doing anything close to it, and that's actually forbidden. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about where the rabbis made something forbidden to protect us from something close to it. I'm talking about where the rabbis never even made something forbidden to protect us. It's just that if you have a Torah head on your head, you have a Torah cup, you know where it starts and where it ends. And if we tell you this is fine, you know this is fine, but not that, because they're different. But an ignoramus probably will not know how to differentiate between the two cases. So we have certain things we do not teach. And it's nothing to do with like Kabbalah or sexuality or those hidden things that you can only teach in private but not in public. This is something completely different. There are certain cases where something is clearly permitted, but we will never tell the masses because it's going to lead them to do other things which are not permitted, okay? What does it have to do with anything? I find a similar thing going on today where it's like, dude, there's a very, very real possibility that smoking on Shabbos, if done the right way, is not forbidden, at least according to one opinion. A very valid opinion, okay? I'm saying one school of thought. I don't mean just one person. I'm saying one school of thought. Okay? I'm not saying smoking on Shabbos can be done in any way. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's entirely possible that at least according to one of the views, it's permitted if done in the correct manner. Okay? Boker Tov.
How you doing, Elisha?
Yoel.
Yoel, yes, I'm sorry.
Good.
Everything okay?
Very good.
You happy all the time or sometime?
I like to pretend to be happy.
Yes, it's not easy this time. Sometimes I have it's okay sometimes. I'm working in a school of Ulpana. You know what's this Ulpana?
Opan, yeah, they teach you English, Hebrew, yeah.
No, the child.
Okay.
I like this place.
Cool. Yo, good luck, bro. Shabbat shalom. Alright, where are we up to? What are we saying? I don't even know. Called me Elisha. It's not the first time he's called me Elisha. I don't know. Elisha was the student of Elijah. I think, right? Alright. So yeah, we're talking about smoking on Shabbos, how it's entirely possible that there is a way where you could smoke on Shabbos without violating any prohibitions. Okay. How does this tie in to the previous the previous thought was that there's sometimes we won't teach things to the public, to the masses, because we're scared of what they're gonna do with it. They're gonna, you know, today it's even worse. Today I could show someone, I could talk to like someone who knows Torah, and they won't even have this conversation with me about the smoking on Shabbos. And they have all kinds of BS in their head, like, oh, the rabbis already made it forbidden, or it goes against the spirit of Sabbath, like all kinds of BS. They just, meaning they can't even have the conversation with me. And that's a really bad thing, because a guy like me, you're gonna tell me that if there's a possibility that me smoking on Shabbos isn't actually forbidden if I do it the right way, but you refuse to have that conversation with me, I'm never gonna keep Shabbos in my life. But if you guys would only have that conversation with me, and if we can figure out how I can smoke Shabbos on Shabbos without violating any commandments, at least according to one opinion, then I can begin my journey with Shabbos. I can actually keep Shabbos, because my main obstacle isn't an actual biblical law. My main obstacle is that there's no sages, there's no rabbis, there's no teachers who are willing to engage in the conversation with us about how to properly keep Shabbos. Instead, they want their Shabbos. Their Shabbos is not the real Shabbos. Dude, I grew up being taught you're not allowed to ride a bicycle on Shabbos. And then I would go and visit other communities, and they were riding bicycles on Shabbos. Because riding a bicycle on Shabbos doesn't actually violate anything. Not biblical, not rabbinic, nothing. But, you know, they said it's like against the spirit of Shabbos. Okay, spirit of Shabbos. I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but there's more extreme examples, okay? And sometimes it's unhelpful when you become very extreme and you say only the most extreme version of the religion is valid. You're throwing everyone else out that can't handle it. So why am I not religious? Yeah, I said I'm not religious, or at least like outwardly religious, because I'm a sinner and you're not supposed to sin. You're not supposed to sin while being religious. Meaning if you're gonna sin, take off your religious garb, right? So I'm fixing that. I'm saying, no, I'm not religious because it's not realistic for me, dude. I'm saying, how am I not religious? Like what? With like sexual sins, everyone does sexual sins, so you can't say that's not religious, you know? I'm saying just because someone does a sexual sin, you can't say that disqualifies them and they're like off the chart of religion. Everyone sexually sins. Maybe some it's in their dreams while they're sleeping, and some it's while they're awake, and you know, everyone in their own situation, but no one is free from sexual sin. All right, so what other sin? Shabbos. Shabbos is like considered to be like one of the things. Shabbos, generally today, if you keep kosher and you keep Shabbos, is there a third one? Oh, and mikvah, right? Mikvah, they say family purity. That's the general things that are like, if you keep that you're like in the basic category of like religious, right? Okay, well, I'm not a woman, so I don't go to mikvah before I have sex. And if I'm going to have sex with a woman and she goes to mikvah or not, I'm not going to be the one. I mean, saying that's on her. You can't blame me either way. I'm just saying, kosher, I generally eat only kosher. I'm saying when I'm in America and stuff's going on and whatever, if I eat something that's not kosher, all right. But I'm saying generally my day-to-day, and I'm in Israel, where I'm going to go out of my way to find bacon. It's really, no, I'll keep it kosher. Shabbos is really my main struggle. And why is Shabbos my struggle? Because the rabbis won't engage in a conversation about how to smoke on Shabbos without violating the Bible. Instead, they just want to say anyone who smokes on Shabbos, bad, evil, wicked, you're not allowed to smoke on Shabbos. So that's why I love to smoke in public on Shabbos, in front of their faces, just to piss them back off. Because really, maybe you are allowed to smoke on Shabbos, but they don't want to tell me how. They don't want to tell me how. It's the same thing with electricity. Everyone says electricity is forbidden on Shabbos. And it's funny the mind loops they go through to convince you that it's forbidden. Like building a circuit. Oh, you didn't build a fire, but you built a circuit. Okay. So make electricity without a circuit, bro, or a circuit that's always on, or something like that. I'm just saying, like, dude, there's a ways around it. Let's figure this shit out. And you know what? They did figure it out. For disabled people in Israel, they have these like electric go-karts. They have ones special for religious people to use on Shabbos. How can you use it on Shabbos? Because they figured out how you can do it without violating any commandment on Shabbos. So why can't everyone in their Tesla have that same technology and drive on Shabbos? Because the rabbis don't let. Okay? Thank you guys for watching. Good Shabbos.